Hey, superachievers! If you haven't already, please check out the video on your two-system brain. It will give you a good foundation for what we're discussing in this one, our defensive mode. I've covered this before in a few other resources, and I wanted to revisit it because it is an important topic to consider when we need to get out of our own way. Let's revisit what defensive mode is, and then I'd like to provide you with 5 strategies I've learned to move past it. I'm sure you've heard of the term amygdala hijack. This is essentially defensive mode. It's when the fight or flight part of your brain has determined you have been threatened, and then it goes into reaction mode to keep you safe. This worked great in the caveman days, filled with threats all around us, such as saber-toothed tigers, warring tribes, starvation. However, in modern times, people can go into full-blown fight or flight mode in a business meeting that they feel someone disrespected them. Yikes! So how do we move past whatever has triggered us? Well, before we get into the strategies for doing so, the first step is to know that you've been triggered. Think about the reactions you have in your body when you've gone into fight or flight, as we each have slightly different responses. For example, my throat will get tight, I'll feel a rush of blood up my face, and my muscles will tense. So think about what happens in your body. Then it will be important to train yourself to notice when your body starts showing the signs of a fight or flight response. Now, once you identify your specific responses and come up with the best way for you to notice it, train yourself to stop what you are doing and then move into one of the following strategies. Get curious, assume positive intent, distance yourself, engage in deep breathing, and reflect on what you've learned. Why not do all of them? All right, so let's look at the first strategy, get curious. As soon as you feel your response, move into the rational part of your brain and get curious. What's going on here? I've been triggered. What is it about this person or situation that has my brain on high alert? Now, oftentimes when you think it through in a curious manner, you'll realize that your brain is responding to an event from your past. For example, there is one woman that I have been friends with for several years now. Except when I first met her, I became angry. I could not for the life of me understand why until I got curious and realized that she looked very similar to a woman that was a workplace bully from many years ago. I was able to then work on overcoming her appearance triggering me. Next strategy, assume positive intent. It helps when we've been triggered by another person to assume they had positive intent and did not show up to have that type of behavior, right? Maybe they didn't mean that comment in the way that it came across. And if they did, then I assume good person, bad circumstances. The vast majority of people do not get up in the morning thinking about all the ways they can piss people off throughout the day. Now, each of us has our own stuff we're struggling with, and it helps me to remember that when I get triggered. Now, this doesn't mean that you allow people to treat you poorly, but it does mean that you stop and think before responding. And when you do respond, you do it in the most mature and effective way possible. All right, the third strategy involves distancing yourself. Sometimes just gaining some distance from the person or the situation that triggered you gives you a different perspective on it. This can be combined with the fourth strategy of engaging in some deep breathing to calm the response. Finally, use the circumstances of you getting triggered as a learning opportunity. Reflect on what happened, what you learned about yourself and your automatic responses because of the situation, and finally, what you plan on doing differently in the future the next time you get triggered under similar circumstances. There you have it, superachievers. 5 strategies for moving past your defensive mode when it gets triggered. Pick 1 or 2 to try out today.